Okay, I need to bring in the audience now. There's 3 gentlemen we'll see. We have to go to break soon. I'll take as many as I can, but please keep your comments really short. We don't have a lot of time. Let's start with the gentleman in purple, please. Don't forget to tell us who you are, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Kolawole Bangu. I work with the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center at CISLAC. First is to commend the Parliament for what they have done so far, but is to just throw a snag, because it's not too difficult to quickly wave away that, yes, when electioneering comes, we can continue to work. It can be very distractive. And these components of this bill have a tendency to increase the divisive nature of our economy and our nation. So I want to call on the Parliament to quickly address those issues that can be potentially explosive, because as long as people begin to continue to feel excluded, it's going to throw some tension around the political environment that will be very hostile and that can be very difficult to accommodate as a nation. That's my call to Parliament.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. My name is Brown Ogbefu, former Pengassan president and foundation member of NSWG. It can be too much to be able to say that we realize that this is a private member's bill. And I think that is what one of the panelists was trying to talk about when you talk about executive and the House. A private member's bill, which means that the National Assembly had taken the lead in this, and we need to commend them. Let us. But however, it doesn't also take away from the fact that the executive has a very important role to play. The PIGB, like Mr. Waziri Adio said, is about 25% of the job. But we cannot get the oil and gas running on its feet with just the PIGB, because you have other legs that, if not properly aligned, will just truncate the entire thing. And that's why I'm appealing, just like others, that we need to take all of them before this 8th assembly goes. That's number one. But what does it mean for Nigerians? Because you asked the question, we need to be able to come out and let Nigerians really know what they need to. When you look at the upstream, for instance, I think it's something that we all need to embrace, and that if it is done, you look at acreage management, for instance, in the upstream, is something that will address a lot of issues. The other one that has to do with impacted communities, we need some little care, so that we do not compare a community where there is a gas flare and a community where you have administrative setting of an oil and gas company and begin to equate them. It's going to cause a lot of, but I'm happy he's been able to say, yes, there are little, because I know this is a political, but again, in our country, let us take our economy very, very seriously, devoid from political undertones. Most of the companies outside this thing, I know it's important, but let us not please subsume the economic advantages into trying to buy peace. The peace you are going to buy with what we're going to do in terms of trying to give some level of incentives to areas very far from where this thing is taking place is likely to be explosive, and we need to be able to please go through it.
There's an elephant in this room when we talk about the PIGB that we sort of just kind of touch, but never really sort of come to grips with. And there's a sense when you talk to people outside formal settings that people feel the PIGB perhaps is being designed, in a way that is designed to either exclude the North from benefiting from the oil wealth that people say they shouldn't benefit from in the first place, or to allow the South to finally begin to benefit from the oil wealth which has been theirs to begin with and which they've been sharing with the rest of the country. There are conversations that are not taking place.
Well, can I jump in?
Yes.
And because sometimes also I think we major on the minor and maybe vice versa. And if I was to go to one of the themes that was talked about, and one of the recurring questions through the night is that what should the petroleum industry bill and the remaining bills mean to Nigeria and for Nigerians? It is that we have an industry in decline. And I think on that point we ought to be united. Because if we don't have an industry in the first instance, there will be nothing to share. So we have effectively an industry in decline, and passing the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill and the other ones, and I agree with Mr. Adu that it's only 25%. The analogy that comes to mind for me is a four-wheel drive that is missing 3 wheels. Even if you have 3 wheels, you still will need a 4th wheel in order for the car to be able to move. What it means for Nigerians effectively is that if that intervention happens, if the Honorable and his colleagues are able to fulfill the promise and that intervention happens, then we would have created a conducive atmosphere for investments to start to return. Otherwise, we need to bear in mind that the country with the largest proven reserves in the world is Venezuela. Okay. And look at where Venezuela is today.
Okay, so let me just take a quick break, and when we come back, we will carry on talking. Don't go away.